Hi guys, it's me, Angel. So in early April, I watched a movie called Umma.
Umma.
It means mother in Korean. It had a limited theatrical release. To be honest, I'm not gonna lie, it felt like a missed opportunity, but the concept is just so unique as it explores how we're haunted by generational trauma. To explore that in a horror film, that is so interesting. So I wanted to talk about it today, and I thought while we're at it, let's talk about common story devices used in the horror genre. If you guys didn't know, Cersei and I are American Filipino. Our mother is from the Philippines. So as a child of an immigrant parent, this concept just felt so refreshing, and I love the fact that it's directed and written by a female. That inspires me. She's living my dream. Unfortunately, there are spoilers ahead. The story follows a Korean immigrant named Amanda, played by Sandra Oh, and she lives with her daughter, Chris, on a farm where they manage a bee colony for their honey business. The use of single parents is common in horror films because parental anxieties and self-doubt all heighten fear in times of crisis. Amanda claims to have a severe allergy to electricity, so they're cut off from phones, cars, internet, computers. Horror writers want to create this sort of isolation. It forces your characters to be cut off from all sort of support, comfort, help, and just confines them within their world of suffering. We often see a main character in horror films experiencing PTSD because it foreshadows the story we're about to experience. We see what this character needs to overcome, what they need to face head on to survive. We learn that Amanda's fear stems from her childhood when she was abused by her mother, an immigrant. So much hardship in that. She was forced to raise her daughter alone in the States. She didn't know anyone, she didn't know the language. She wanted to share her mental and emotional suffering. When Amanda finds out that her own daughter wants to leave the farm to go to college, it really hurts her. But what really gets the story going is when Amanda's Korean uncle visits town with a suitcase delivering the ashes of her recently deceased abusive mother. Talk about resurfacing past baggage. When Amanda cuts off ties from her mother, she is also cutting ties with her Korean culture. This is made clear to us when her uncle visits. He shames her for the fact that she doesn't have a husband, her daughter doesn't know Korean, and she has abandoned her mother. Guilt is so common in Asian households. The battle becomes Amanda's angry mother's spirit trying to possess her, which represents Amanda's fear of becoming her mother. She does try to bury the ashes at one point, which shows that she's trying to continue her life suppressing her trauma. In the final showdown, Amanda is dragged underneath the earth to face her mother. It's Amanda's responsibility alone to face her trauma head on. Let's talk about the other metaphors in the film, at least the ones that I caught and want to talk about. I just really like metaphors and want to talk about it. Bees live to serve the queen bee, which is kind of like the mother of the hive. They touch on the idea that parents often believe everything they do is for us.
All of this is for you!
And in return, to show gratitude, we must live within their expectations and mold our character, our life goals, our lifestyles into what fits within those expectations. They use basements and attics in this film, and the way that I see the anatomy of houses used to represent how we store and navigate and acknowledge emotions that we attempt to suppress. There are specific expressions, experiences, and struggles that Korean Americans, Asian Americans, and those with immigrant parents will especially resonate with. You see the conditioning of beliefs around this idea that no one's going to be honest with us as much as our mothers. That's a common conditioning belief within Korean culture and other Asian cultures. Fear of becoming our parents is universal. I feel especially since quarantine, we're all kind of acknowledging what needs meets healing within our inner child, confronting our traumas. However, as it's confined within the horror genre, it quickly becomes cliched. There are a lot of jump scares that just feel forced. It follows the horror formula so well that it just becomes predictable. So this isn't a horror film, but I wanted to just name drop it here. I recently watched Disney's Pixar's Turning Red, and it explores similar themes and intergenerational trauma, especially within Asian culture, and I found it very gratifying watching those films back to back. Just wanted to put it out there. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you soon.